The humans that built houses 1,750,000 years before us. Nearly 2 million years ago, Earth was not a world made for humans. It was a planet ruled by giants. Saber-toothed cats dominated the grasslands. Hyenas controlled the night. Crocodiles waded beneath the surface of rivers, patient and unseen. Climate shifted violently, swinging between abundance and desolation. Survival was never guaranteed, and death was never far away. Among these dangers lived early members of our genus, Homo. They walked upright, shaped simple tools, and possessed minds capable of learning. Yet for nearly a million years, these humans were not rulers of their environment. They were hunted. Their children were taken. The elderly rarely lived long. In this world, humans were still prey. But evolution does not move in leaps. It moves quietly, through small advantages that accumulate over time. And slowly, something new emerged. A human with longer legs and a narrower pelvis. A body built not for climbing trees or hiding in brush, but for movement across open land. A body that could endure heat, distance, and exhaustion. This was Homo erectus. Homo erectus was not merely a variation of earlier humans. It was a transformation. Their bodies were taller and heavier, some reaching nearly 6 feet in height. Their limbs were proportioned like those of modern humans. Their chests were broader, their bones thicker and stronger. Reduced body hair and an abundance of sweat glands allowed them to regulate heat more efficiently than any human before them. Where Homo habilis lived within a limited territory, Homo erectus expanded its world. They could run for hours, not quickly, but relentlessly. This endurance gave rise to a new hunting strategy. Rather than ambush or scavenging, they pursued prey over long distances, driving animals to collapse from heat and exhaustion. Under the relentless sun, fur became a weakness. Panic became fatal. For the first time, humans could reliably hunt large animals. Fossil evidence shows Homo erectus associated with elephants, rhinos, hippos, deer, horses, and even crocodiles. Creatures that once inspired fear now provided food, tools, and materials for survival. Humans were no longer merely reacting to their environment. They were shaping it. This transformation was not driven by strength alone. It was powered by intelligence and cooperation. Homo erectus hunted in groups, coordinating movements and roles. Ancient footprints preserved in Kenya reveal organized hunting parties, likely composed primarily of males, moving together across the landscape. These were not chaotic chases, but planned efforts guided by experience and communication. As their ecological role changed, so did their minds. The average brain size of Homo erectus reached approximately 1,030 cubic centimeters, nearly 80% that of modern humans. This expansion supported more complex behavior, longer planning horizons, and technological innovation. Across Africa and Eurasia, a new tool tradition appeared, the Acheulean industry. Hand axes and cleavers were crafted with remarkable symmetry and consistency. These tools were not accidental byproducts of stone breaking. They were designs, shaped with intention and skill. A single hand axe could butcher an entire animal efficiently, dramatically increasing the energy gained from each hunt. The anatomy of Homo erectus reveals another crucial ability. Their shoulders closely resemble those of modern humans, indicating a capacity for accurate, powerful throwing. Though direct evidence of spears is rare, it is highly likely that Homo erectus used wooden weapons, stones, and thrown projectiles during hunts. Distance became a weapon, reducing risk and increasing success. Yet perhaps the most transformative innovation was fire. By at least 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus had learned to control flames. At first, fire was likely carried from natural sources, such as lightning strikes. Later, they learned how to create it themselves. Fire provided warmth in cold environments, protection from predators, and light after sunset. It allowed humans to occupy new habitats and extend their activity into the night. Cooking changed everything. Meat became easier to chew, safer to eat, and more energy-rich. Nutrients were absorbed more efficiently, supporting further brain growth. Fire also transformed social life. Around flames, individuals gathered. Faces became visible. Gestures gained meaning. Sounds became structured. Though their vocal anatomy could not produce modern speech, brain regions associated with language were already well developed. A primitive proto-language likely emerged, enabling more complex cooperation and shared knowledge. With tools, fire, and social bonds, Homo erectus did something no human had done before. They left Africa. Fossils appear across the Caucasus, China, and Southeast Asia. On the Indonesian island of Java, remains later known as Java Man were discovered. In China, similar fossils became known as Peking Man. Once considered separate and controversial, these finds were eventually recognized as belonging to the same species, Homo erectus. Their geographic range was unprecedented. From African savannas to Asian forests and temperate regions, Homo erectus adapted to diverse environments. Some scientists debate whether all populations originated in Africa or whether parts of Asia played a deeper role in their evolution. The evidence remains incomplete, and the debate continues. What is clear is that Homo erectus did not merely survive in these new lands. They settled them. Archaeological evidence shows that Homo erectus constructed early shelters as far back as 1.7 million years ago. Circular structures made from stone, earth, and branches served as windbreaks and living spaces, often built around fire pits. These were not temporary refuges, but seasonal base camps, early homes. They compensated for reduced body hair by wearing clothing made from animal hides. They shared food. They cared for the injured and the sick. Fossils reveal individuals with severe injuries, deformities, and even complete tooth loss who survived long beyond what would have been possible without group support. This was not just survival. It was society. Then came their most astonishing achievement. Homo erectus crossed water. Reaching isolated islands such as Flores required planning, cooperation, and the construction of rafts or other watercraft. This journey could not have been accidental. It demanded foresight and courage. For the first time, humans left land behind with no guarantee of what lay ahead. For nearly 2 million years, Homo erectus endured. They survived longer than any other human species in history. But the world they had mastered did not remain stable. Climate shifted again. Open woodlands vanished. Megafauna declined and disappeared. Dense rainforests replaced open hunting grounds. The adaptations that once made Homo erectus supreme became less effective. On Java, the last known populations became isolated. Cut off from resources and changing too slowly to adapt, they faded from the fossil record. By approximately 108,000 years ago, Homo erectus was gone. Later, Homo sapiens would emerge, carrying fire, tools, endurance, and social bonds forward. Much of what defines humanity today was first shaped by Homo erectus. They built houses nearly 1.75 million years before us. They crossed seas without maps. They ruled the world without ever naming it. Homo erectus was not just a species. It was an age.